Even a couple who have been together for 40 years might not understand everything about each other. It's my lucky day when my husband, of all days on his retirement, decides to bring up divorce. My name is Emily, and I'm 65 years old. I married my husband when I was 25. We were colleagues at the same company back then, and we've been married for 40 years now. Our only daughter, Catherine, is 35 years old. She got married 8 years ago and has since moved out to start her own family. So it's just the two of us living together now. The life of an old couple is mostly monotonous and repetitive, but I think it's not bad to spend each day with small joys. My husband will be retiring soon, and I hope we can enjoy a peaceful life together in our old age. That's what I had hoped for. Although my husband can be a bit dominant, he's a gentle person and speaks very little. We've been married for 40 years. I feel I have played my role as a supportive wife, always following my husband's lead. I quit my job after marrying him and lived modestly as a housewife. At that time, it was the norm, and I never felt anything strange about this life continuing on. Following and trusting my husband was natural for me, almost like a duty. It was purely because I loved him. Perhaps that's why I noticed. I started seeing my husband change over time. I first felt a slight unease on a particular holiday. My husband left early in the morning without saying a word to me. "Oh, are you going out?" Yes." "So early? Do you have an appointment or something?" "No, just going for a walk." "I see. What about breakfast? I've prepared it." "I don't need it. I'll be back late." For some reason, my husband seemed in a hurry and left the house quickly. He was someone who would usually watch movies or read at home during holidays. Leaving the house dressed up decently at 8 in the morning? What on earth was going on? But maybe he just wanted a change of pace and decided to go out alone. At that time, I convinced myself to believe in him. However, from then on, my husband frequently went out on holidays and often didn't return until late at night. He would leave early in the morning and not return until past midnight. Even after the last trains had long since stopped running, I wondered where he was and what he was doing. "Going out again today? It's been frequent recently." "Yeah. Will you be late again? What about dinner?" "I don't need it." My husband's replies were curt. Moreover, day by day, he started to become colder towards me. "Hey, what's with this lousy meal?" "Lousy? I made your favorite mixed rice, sautéed burdock root, and simmered golden-eye snapper. Do you really think a meal this plain can give me energy after a tiring day?" "It's the same as always. If you want something specific, just tell me and I'll make it." "That's not the point. You should be able to guess what I want to eat." He had never raised his voice like that before. In a bad mood, my husband left without touching the meal I prepared and went out to eat alone. Many were the days when I sat alone at the dinner table, tears streaming down my cheeks. There were other signs of change in my husband. "I'll be on a business trip next week." "A business trip? You've never had one before. It's sudden." "Stop it! Don't nag about my work." "I didn't mean it like that. I just meant it's unusual, that's all." "What do you know about my job? Enough! I'm going to sleep." Saying that, he turned away like a child and headed to the bathroom. Really, there was no need for him to say it like that. After that, my husband avoided eye contact, and our conversations as a couple dwindled. I tried to communicate with him multiple times, serving him his favorite dishes or gifting him novels I thought he'd like, but to no avail. "Hey, what's been going on with you lately? You've been acting different. Being with you has become a pain for me." Those softly spoken words from my husband stung sharply, and thus The gap between my husband and me grew wider and wider. Then, one day, "Hello? Oh, Catherine! How have you been?" I received a rare call from my daughter. "Hey, this might sound odd, but how have you and Dad been lately?" There was a serious tone in my daughter's voice. "Why bring that up all of a sudden?" "Well, it's a bit difficult to say, but Tom saw Dad walking with a young woman." Tom is Catherine's husband. Come to think of it, his workplace is near my husband's. Has there been any change in Dad recently? I felt pained recalling my husband's recent behavior. Until now, even if he was dominant at home, he wasn't the type to be harsh or say sarcastic things to me. But in the past few months, he seemed like a completely different person, unable to bear my husband's recent words and attitude. I confided everything to my daughter. "That's terrible. If you were troubled, you should have told me sooner." I didn't want to show my child the discord between our parents. "What are you saying? If you keep shouldering this alone, the stress will knock you down." Her words jolted me. Lately, I haven't been sleeping well at night, and my appetite has diminished. The stress had already taken its toll on me. "Catherine, thank you." "Don't mention it. More importantly, Dad seems very suspicious. Should we investigate?" Upon Catherine's suggestion, I requested a private detective to investigate my husband. I prayed from the depths of my heart. Please let it be my misunderstanding. Please let my husband not betray me. However, the results were damningly clear. My husband had an affair with a woman 30 years younger than himself. They met at a bar he visited for social reasons. He seemed to have started dating the hostess working there about 3 months ago. This timeline coincides with when I started noticing changes in him. I see. So this was the reason. Engaging in adultery with a woman the same age as our daughter? I could only see my husband as a repulsive creature now. He hurts and belittles others, yet he indulges in his pleasures. I can't forgive him. To betray the wife he'd been with for 40 years? My anger surged more than my tears. And so, the fuse for my retaliation was lit. First, I diligently gathered evidence before filing for divorce. With the solid evidence, he won't be able to talk his way out. Now, why not demand his property for emotional distress as well? Thinking this way gave me a bit of energy. Yes, I should divorce such a man quickly and enjoy my freedom on my own. Behind the scenes, I had consulted with a lawyer and was having documents prepared for divorce proceedings and claims for sharing his property when my husband's retirement date approached. Perhaps I should appreciate his years of service on his retirement day. However, somewhere inside of me, I couldn't genuinely say, "Thank you for your hard work." I certainly am grateful for how he supported me financially over the years, but how could I show compassion for a husband who betrayed the wife who stood by him for 40 years? When I confided in my daughter about my dilemma, she suggested, why not hand him the divorce papers on his retirement day? That would surely give you closure. Maybe that's the fitting way to do it. Can I be present during that conversation? Huh? You too, Catherine? Why? Why? Obviously, because I can't forgive that. You're not alone, Mom. Catherine, thank you. And so, with my daughter by my side, I decided to discuss divorce with my husband on the day of his retirement. On the day of his retirement, he briefly made some rounds of greeting and returned home by noon. I couldn't help but notice his overly confident and accomplished demeanor. "Ah, Catherine's here?" "Yes." Catherine responded curtly to her father. Yet Tom seemed unfazed by this and immediately said to me upon his return, "Emily, we need to talk." "All right, what is it?" It had been a while since we had a proper conversation as husband and wife. A sudden pang of sadness surged through me. What did those 40 years mean to me? "I found someone I love. You're no longer needed. I'll give you $70,000. Leave this house." "Excuse me?" "I'll give you the money. Just get out of my sight. Don't make me repeat myself. I'm going to live here with her, a younger and better woman than you." At this point, our daughter interjected. "Dad, what are you saying?" "It's none of your business. Keep quiet." "Of course it's my business. This isn't something you can decide on your own." The two started to argue. I let out a sigh. Inside, I was silently cheering. The topic I was about to bring up came from him instead. How convenient for me. "Are you saying you want a divorce?" "Yeah, that's right." "Can you explain in detail one more time?" "All right, fine." With that, he began to explain about his affair, how they fell in love, and how they planned to register their marriage as soon as possible after the divorce. It's easier to proceed when he explains it all himself. After listening to everything I said, "Understood. So, you admit to the infidelity." Calling it infidelity sounds so dramatic. Are you jealous at this age? Jealousy has nothing to do with this. You just admitted to having a relationship with another woman while still married, right? All right, let's go with that. Then I will be claiming to share your property for the infidelity. I presented the documents prepared by the lawyer to him, but he seemed surprisingly at ease. "I'll pay whatever amount you want. I'm getting a retirement bonus of $130,000. "Oh, that's impressive, right? I've devoted more than 40 years to the company. It's only natural." So this was the reason behind his willingness to pay whatever amount. With a windfall of $130,000, one would indeed feel emboldened. "By the way, you'll have to leave this house." "What?" "You see, this house is mine." "What?" Suddenly his expression changed to one of panic. "So this house was inherited from my parents. Why should I be the one to leave?" It seemed that he had completely forgotten the house was in my name. How can you forget something so important? But he was entirely dumbfounded. "Never mind. I understand about the divorce. I was planning to bring it up myself, so that's fine." Next to the compensation document, I placed a filled-out divorce paper. "No, wait. Please, it was a joke. A joke!" Is this what they call a dad joke? How unamusing. "A joke? It's a surprise. I just wanted to surprise you." As he was sweating profusely and trying to cover up, I knew it was too late. "A surprise? Oh, how delightful. So, am I getting a diamond ring next? Or perhaps tickets for a luxury cruise? And it will all be presented with a bouquet, right? Let's see them now, quickly." Well, what about the affair? Weren't you saying she's going to live here with you? Starting tomorrow, a young woman will live here. You'd be so happy. I've never heard such a surprise." "Oh, that was a lie too. You know it was a joke, right? We've been together for 40 years. I couldn't stand his insincerity any longer. "Don't take me lightly." I presented all the evidence of his infidelity. Photos of him and the woman getting cozy in public. The two of them entering a hotel, their arms entwined, walking happily together. The pictures said it all. The undeniable truth was there, and Tom had no choice but to accept it. What is this? How did you... You think a wife of 40 years wouldn't notice a change in her husband? Tom fell silent at my words. Perhaps the weight of the word 40 years dawned on him. How did you know? We're married. It's impossible for me not to notice. I've trusted and stood by you for 40 years, but it seems you never really saw me. As I spoke those words, I felt a sting deep within my chest. I'll grant you a divorce, so leave this house right now. It's mine after all. Right now? Yes, I'm not so kind as to let another person live here, especially not a traitor. Wait, isn't it a bit rash to decide on a divorce just like that? What are you talking about? You were the one who brought it up first, weren't you? Well, I don't want to complicate things any further. Can you sign quickly? I tapped on the table where the divorce papers lay. Seeing my resolute expression, he probably realized there was no way out. As my daughter and I watched, he silently filled out the divorce papers. How could someone forget that the house they live in is under their wife's name? Could he possibly be going senile? Well, it doesn't matter anymore. After that, we officially divorced. I received the standard amount for alimony, and we properly divided our joint assets, including his retirement pay. The reason I waited until his retirement date to get a divorce was this. I ended up getting a substantial amount of money from the alimony and the division of our shared assets. After kicking out my husband, I had our house demolished and sold the land. The location was great, so a real estate agent was eager to buy it at a good price. Even after deducting the demolition costs, I received a significant amount of money. Perhaps my husband was aware of the market value of this land too. However, he seemed to have overlooked the crucial fact that the house and land were under my name. I changed my mobile number and completely severed ties with my husband. I hope he, now over 65 and alone, can find a place to live without a guarantor, but it's no longer my concern. However, he reached out to our daughter. Hey, Catherine, where's your mother living now? Do you know what she's up to? Why should I tell you? Don't be like that. I'm in trouble right now. Here's what he had to say. After the divorce and struggling to find a place to live, his mistress apparently suggested buying an apartment. Introduced by her to a real estate agent, he was able to purchase 2 apartments at a price much lower than the market value. One for him to live in and the other to rent out for rental income. The salesperson pushed him, saying, "You can get your initial investment back in 5 years, and this room will always be rented out. It won't be vacant. The discounted price is only during this campaign." With that, he decided to invest all of his retirement money into purchasing it. That salesman intended to deceive me from the start. The area has bad security, the train station is far, the roads are narrow and unpopular. There are many vacant rooms, and since the building is old, maintenance costs a lot. It was a shoddy property that no one wanted to buy. Given that he was introduced by his mistress, it's likely she was in cahoots with the salesman. I have no retirement money left, and even if I try to sell this property, it won't sell. He said this with a voice on the verge of tears. Oh, really? Well, Mom is living a carefree life overseas. I wonder if she'll ever come back to Japan. Please stop getting involved with her. She's finally enjoying her life. It's your own doing, right? What goes around comes around. Seeing you makes me realize that I shouldn't do bad things. Goodbye. Catherine said this and hung up the phone. You really went all out with what you said, didn't you? Telling him I'm overseas was a lie. I had to say at least that much to feel satisfied. He was always saying whatever he wanted, and it was unbearable. Now, I don't think he'll contact us anymore. Thank you. I feel relieved. You're welcome. My daughter said that and poured tea into my empty cup. Mom, what are you going to do now? I intend to live freely on my own. Why don't you come live with us? As we were talking, my daughter's husband made such an offer. It's okay. Don't worry about me. Why not, Mom? My husband is even suggesting it himself. Exactly. I'm not saying this out of obligation, but I don't want to intrude on a young couple's life. What are you talking about? There's no need for hesitation between family. My daughter tightly held my hand. I thought I had long since run out of tears, but I realized they were streaming down my cheeks. Thank you. You're still young, Mom. You need to enjoy the rest of your life. The next chapter of my life had just begun. The kindness of my daughter and son-in-law touched me deeply, warming my heart ever so slightly.